Josh stood at his window and watched the empty street. Each house was dark and quiet. Josh felt a cold ache in his chest. Jenna had moved away last month. She was his closest friend. Now he felt a gap inside him that he did not know how to fill. He remembered the afternoons they spent in the yard. Jenna would lace her shoes for a run, while Josh loaded his old bike. They raced to the park, laughing as the wind pulled at their hair. They shared secrets under the big oak tree. Now that tree seemed smaller, and the leaves whispered only to the empty air. Josh tried to send messages, tapped out text after text on his phone. "How are you?" He wrote, "I miss you." He stared at the screen, waiting for her answer. The little dot danced as it sent, but no reply came. He felt a dull weight in his stomach. He wondered if she forgot him already. That night, Josh lay awake and thought about hope. He thought about how humans never give up. He had read stories of people who crossed oceans to find new friends. He knew that feeling distant did not have to last forever. He believed in the strength of heart and mind. He felt his chest rise with a gentle warmth. The next morning, Josh sat at his desk. He opened his notebook and wrote a plan. He would make a small video message for Jenna. He drew simple pictures of their memories: the oak tree, the old bike, the park bench. Then he wrote subtitles in clear, careful letters. He imagined Jenna smiling when she saw it. He told himself, "I can do this." He recorded himself speaking. His voice trembled at first, but he took a deep breath and spoke with truth. He said, "Jenna, I miss you every day. I remember our runs and our laughter. I hope you are happy. I believe we can find each other again." He ended with a hopeful grin. He felt his heart lift as he watched the message back. He shared the video in an email and pressed send. Then he took one extra step. Ask classmates and neighbors too. Send small notes of support too. Soon, his inbox filled with little drawings and kind words for Jenna. Josh printed each note and tucked them into a bright envelope. He sealed it with a smile. As evening came, Josh walked to the mailbox. He held the video link and the envelope in his hand. He felt the heavy weight of distance, but he also carried hope. He pressed the letters into the slot. Then he looked up at the sky and whispered, "We will find our way back to each other." Josh went home with a lighter heart. He knew he had done all he could for now. He believed in human spirit and in his own hope. Tomorrow he might call Jenna or try another way. But tonight he let himself feel proud. He had reached out, and that was the first step toward being together again. Josh woke early and stared at his silent phone. The video link he sent played in his mind like a broken record. He checked his email again. No new messages. He felt a dull ache in his chest. Jenna's laughter and voice were far away now. The distance pressed in on him. He missed her so much that sometimes he could barely breathe. He tried to distract himself. At breakfast, he helped his mom make pancakes. He flipped each one high in the air, like a small victory. He felt a flicker of pride when the batter landed perfect on the pan. He packed extra for lunch, hoping Jenna might taste the memory of home. Even small tasks felt big now. He reminded himself that humans keep moving forward, no matter how hard it gets. During math class, Josh doodled Jenna's name on his notebook. He drew the oak tree where they met every afternoon. He added 2 stick figures running under its branches. The teacher called on him for an answer, and Josh blinked back to reality. He solved the problem slowly, but he did it. He felt the strength of his mind and heart. He remembered humans never give up on what they love. After school, Josh went to the post office. He asked about his envelope. The clerk smiled kindly, but shook her head. "Not yet," she said. Josh thanked her and left. He walked home under the pale sky. Each step felt heavy, but he lifted his chin. He believed that one day a reply would come. He believed in hope, his strongest power. That evening, Josh opened his laptop. He logged into a video chat platform. He had found Jenna's profile months ago, but never used it. Tonight, he created a room and sent the link in a quiet message. "I made a room if you want to talk." His hands trembled as he clicked send. He waited with the screen glowing blue, his heart pounding. He thought of all the times they sat side by side, now so far apart. Hours passed. Josh's eyes grew heavy. He thought maybe she would not come. He stood and stretched, then paced the room. He counted the seconds on the clock. He whispered to himself, "Humans are strong. I can wait." He pictured Jenna's smile and held on to that memory. He sat again, determined to stay until midnight. No matter what, just before midnight, a notification dinged softly. Josh's heart leaped. He saw Jenna's name in the chat. His fingers shook as he accepted the call. The screen filled with her face, lit by the glow of her own room. She looked tired but happy. Josh felt tears sting his eyes. He swallowed and managed a small smile. "Hello, Jenna," he said in a quiet voice. "I'm so glad you came." Jenna smiled back, her eyes bright. "I missed you," she whispered. Josh felt warmth spread through him like sunlight. They talked about small things first: home, school, favorite songs.
Wow.
Each word felt precious. Josh shared the pancakes his mom made. Jenna laughed and thanked him. Then Josh spoke of his plan to visit. He told her how he saved every penny and how he wanted to see her again under the oak tree. As the call ended, Josh sat in the dark room, his heart full. He shut the laptop gently and stood. He felt hope stronger than ever before. Walked to his desk and opened a notebook, wrote 2 words in big letters: "By ticket." Below, he drew a small rocket ship. He closed the book with a soft thump and whispered, "We will be together soon." His chest felt light, and he knew his HFY spirit had carried him across the distance at last. Josh woke before dawn and tiptoed past his parents' room. He carried a small notebook in one hand and a pencil in the other. Today was the first day of his part-time job at the corner cafe. He felt a mix of nerves and excitement. Reminded himself, humans meet every challenge with courage. He stepped into the quiet street. The lamps still glowed softly as he walked to the cafe. Greeted Ms. Carter, the owner, with a polite nod. She handed him an apron and showed him the tasks: wiping tables, washing mugs, and serving simple orders. Josh listened carefully and promised himself he would learn fast. The first hours passed slowly. Josh wiped table after table, careful to leave them spotless. He smiled at each customer and said thank you even when they barely noticed him. He felt tired, but he also felt proud. Each clean table was a victory. Each polite word was a step closer to his goal. At noon, Josh carried trays of coffee and sandwiches. He balanced the tray on one hand as he moved between crowded tables. He thought of Jenna, hoping she would taste the memory of these small sandwiches. He felt the warmth of the cups through the cloth. He realized that every simple task had its own strength. After his shift, Ms. Carter paid him his first wages. Josh held the crisp bills in his hand, felt their weight like a promise. He thanked her and left the cafe with careful steps. The sun was high now, and the world looked bright. He thought of Jenna's face and felt hope bloom in his chest. He walked to the library on his way home. Inside, he found a travel guide to distant cities. He flipped through pages of maps and photos, marked the page for Jenna's town. He wrote in his notebook, "Plan route here." Then he checked the prices for bus and train tickets. Each number felt like a challenge to conquer. At home, Josh pored over his notebook. He drew a timeline of days until his next paycheck. Set small goals. Save $5 each week. Finish his homework on time. Do extra chores for his parents. He wrote human spirit. Never give up at the top of the page. He placed the notebook by his bed for the morning. That night, Josh dreamed of the journey. He saw himself stepping off a bus into Jenna's town. He saw her waiting under the oak tree, her hair bright in the sunset. In his dream, they hugged and laughed. When he woke, the memory of hope stayed with him like a soft light. The next week, Josh returned to the cafe. He moved with more confidence. He remembered Ms. Carter's advice: always do your best, even if no one sees. He polished silverware until it shone. He learned to call out orders clearly. He practiced small talk with customers. Each day, he felt stronger. On Friday, Josh counted his savings. He had enough for a bus ticket to the next city. Grinned at the coins and bills. he felt the thrill of progress. He wrote in his notebook, one leg of journey booked. He told himself that no matter how far away Jenna was, his human heart would guide him back to her. That evening, Josh called his parents together, showed them his plan, the bus route, the dates, the places to stay. They looked at each other and smiled. His father said, "We believe in you." His mother hugged him and said, "We will help." Josh felt an endless wave of warmth. He realized he was not alone. Before bed, Josh opened his laptop, sent Jenna a quick message. "I'm coming soon. I can't wait to see you." He pressed send and closed his eyes. He imagined her reading it and smiling. He felt a steady calm. He knew that by human will and hope, he would stand with her again. The next morning, Josh packed a small bag. Tucked in his notebook, a map, and a photo of him and Jenna under the oak tree. He took a deep breath and stepped outside. The sky was clear, and the air smelled of summer. He lifted his chin and whispered to himself, "Today, I begin." With each step toward the bus stop, Josh felt the strength of hope. He felt the power of human spirit rising in his chest. He knew the road would be long, and the nights might be hard. But he also knew that no matter what, he would keep moving forward. After all, humans never stop when they truly believe. Josh woke early and carried his small bag to the bus stop. The morning air was cool and quiet. He remembered Jenna's smile and felt hope rise in his chest. The bus came with a soft hiss. Josh climbed aboard and paid the fare. He chose a window seat and watched the town recede. Each mile brought him closer to Jenna, and he felt proud of his human spirit. Even though he felt alone, he reminded himself that humans can face any journey with courage. As the bus rolled over hills and through forests, Josh felt the rhythm of the road. He opened his notebook and wrote about the changing trees and the sky. He drew small arrows along the edge of each page to mark time passing. After an hour, the bus shuddered and stopped on a narrow road. The driver spoke into a radio. Josh learned the engine needed repair. He saw worry on other faces, but he stood and stretched his legs. He smiled and offered water bottles to his seatmates. They thanked him, and he felt the warmth of friendship, even among strangers. While the driver worked, Josh walked down the dusty shoulder. He found wildflowers and picked a small bunch, placed them on the seat next to him. When the driver finished fixing the engine, everyone returned with lighter hearts. The bus moved again. Josh felt proud that he had turned a delay into kindness. He opened his phone and tapped a message to Jenna. "Bus broke down. All okay. I'm still coming. I'm thinking of you." He pressed send. Then he closed his eyes and pictured her reading it. He felt a quiet strength in his bones. After several hours, the bus reached a busy transit hub. Josh disembarked with his bag on his shoulder. He looked at tall buildings and buzzing streets. He felt small in the crowd. Doubts crept in. What if he got lost? What if Jenna had moved again? He took a deep breath and remembered the stories of explorers and pioneers. Humans keep going even when the path is unclear. He folded his map and stepped forward. He asked a friendly passerby for directions, and they pointed him toward the train. Station Josh thanked them with a steady voice. Inside the station, Josh bought a ticket for the next train. He waited in a long line, but used the time to read the travel guide he bought. He marked symbols for bus transfers and train stops. He closed the guide and patted his notebook. He had drawn a sketch of the oak tree where Jenna waited. He believed that tree would stand for him when he arrived. At the platform, he saw families and travelers hugging and laughing. He felt a pang of loneliness, but he refused to give up. He whispered to himself, "Humans do not quit." The train ride felt quieter than the bus. Josh looked out the window at rolling fields and distant towns. He counted down the stops until he reached Jenna's town. With each station, he wrote a number in his notebook. When the train stopped at the final station, he stepped onto the platform. The air smelled of pine and earth. He scanned the signs and found a small sign pointing to the town center. He walked with measured steps, his bag light on his back. As Josh reached the edge of a park, he saw it, the old oak tree. its branches wide and strong. Sunlight filtered through the leaves like a green glow. Josh paused and closed his eyes, felt wind against his face, and he remembered their laughter under this very tree. His chest swelled with hope and pride. He stepped forward, each footfall. Firm on the path, he held his bag and notebook close. Ouch! Humans endure, and hope guides them home. Josh stood beneath the broad branches of the oak tree and looked around. The sun was warm on his shoulders, and the breeze carried the scent of grass and flowers. He felt his heart beat fast. This was the place where he and Jenna had made so many memories. He closed his eyes and remembered their laughter as they carved their initials into the bark. He waited. Minutes passed, and then an hour. Josh's chest tightened with worry. Had Jenna forgotten their plan? Had she changed her mind? He took a deep breath and reminded himself that humans face hard moments with courage. He reached into his bag and pulled out his notebook. He wrote 2 words at the top of the page: "Stay strong." To keep himself calm, Josh began to explore the park. He walked along the winding path and watched families picnic. He smiled at a child flying a kite and felt warmth spread through him. He knew that finding Jenna might take time, but he believed in human hope. He stopped by the fountain and filled his water bottle. Each small step felt like progress. Josh returned to the oak tree and checked his phone. No messages. He tapped the screen and sent a simple text. "I'm here under the tree. I hope you are too." Then he put the phone away and looked up at the branches. Sunlight danced through the leaves. He whispered, "I believe in you," and waited. As the afternoon wore on, Josh felt his hope waver. Doubt crept in. Maybe Jenna had moved away again. Maybe she was busy or scared. His chest felt heavy, but he remembered all the times humans overcame fear. He closed his eyes, placed a hand on the tree's trunk, and felt its rough bark under his fingers. He drew strength from its age and stability. A voice called his name. Josh turned and saw a young woman walking toward him. She held a small bouquet of wildflowers. Her hair was tied back, and she looked both excited and nervous. Josh felt his heart leap. Could it be Jenna? His legs felt like jelly as he took a step forward. "Josh," the woman said softly. Her voice was familiar and comforting. Josh's breath caught in his throat. "Jenna," he whispered. "What?" She smiled, and tears came to her eyes. Josh reached out and they hugged under the oak tree. In that moment, distance melted away. They sat on the grass and talked. Jenna told him about her new life in a different town, the challenges of starting at a new school, and how she missed their runs and quiet talks. Josh listened and shared his own adventures, his job at the cafe, saving money for the trip, all the small moments of hope that carried him here. As Jenna spoke, Josh remembered why humans never give up, remembered her laughter and kindness. He felt proud of their courage. They laughed together when Jenna admitted she had almost missed him because she got lost on the way. She showed him a note she wrote that morning but forgot to mail. "I'll meet you under our tree at 3. Josh pulled the note from his pocket. He had almost forgotten it in the excitement. He read it aloud, and Jenna blushed. They both laughed at their mistakes. Then Josh took the bouquet of wildflowers from Jenna's hand. He tucked a small blossom into his notebook as a keepsake. The sky turned pink as the sun began to set. Josh and Jenna walked together down the park path. They stopped at the old bike rack where they once parked his bike. Jenna touched the metal and smiled. Josh felt a spark of hope ignite in his chest. He knew this moment was the start of new memories. They sat on a wooden bench by a small lake. Josh took Jenna's hand and said, "We can rebuild what was broken. We can make it stronger than before." Jenna squeezed his hand and nodded. She said, "Humans are good at that, finding strength in hard times." As evening settled, Josh and Jenna planned the next days. They talked about visiting the cafe where Josh worked, exploring the town, and running together again under a different oak tree. Each idea brought a smile and lifted their spirits. They believed in human hope and in each other. When it was time to leave, Josh walked Jenna to her new home. They paused at her front door. Jenna turned and hugged him one more time. She whispered, "Thank you for finding me." Josh smiled and said, "I never stopped hoping." That night, Josh lay in bed and thought about the day. He felt his heart full of pride and joy. He had faced doubt, waited under a tree, and found his friend again. He knew that no matter the distance, human spirit and hope could bridge any gap. He closed his eyes and drifted to sleep with a peaceful smile, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring. Asterisk. Josh woke to the soft light of morning and saw Jenna asleep on the couch. Her hair fell across the pillow like a wave. He felt a warm glow. In his chest, after so long apart, they were finally together. He stood quietly and wrote in his notebook, "Today we make new memories." Then he tiptoed to the kitchen to make coffee. Jenna joined him with a shy smile. They sat at the small table by the window, sipping coffee in silence. Outside, birds sang in the trees. Josh reached across the table and held Jenna's hand. She squeezed back and he felt strength flow between them. He thought of all the times humans shared simple moments like this, and how those moments build hope. After breakfast, Jenna led Josh down a narrow lane to a community garden. The garden was full of bright flowers and green vines. Volunteers were planting new seeds in neat rows. Jenna had joined this group when she arrived. She introduced Josh to Mrs. Lee, the garden leader. Josh smiled and offered to help. Mrs. Lee handed him a small trowel and showed him how to plant seedlings. Josh knelt in the soft soil and gently placed a young tomato plant in the ground. He pressed the earth around its stem. Jenna worked beside him, planting herbs. Together, they talked and laughed. Josh told Jenna about his cafe job and his journey here. Jenna shared stories of her new school and her classes. With each seed planted, Josh felt human spirit at work, people helping each other grow. By noon, they had planted a full row of vegetables. Jenna wiped sweat from her forehead, and Josh offered her a bottle of water. They sat on a bench and admired their work. Josh said, "Look how strong these plants will become." Jenna nodded and said, "Just like us." They smiled and felt hope bloom in their hearts, knowing small acts can change the world. Next, Jenna took Josh to the town library. Inside, tall shelves held books of every kind. Jenna showed Josh a shelf of travel guides and maps. Out a guide to Josh's hometown. They laughed as they read about his own neighborhood. Then Josh found a history book about her town's past. He flipped pages and read aloud. Jenna listened, proud that Josh wanted to learn. As afternoon shadows grew long, they left the library and walked by a calm river. The water reflected the sky in ripples of blue. Josh stopped and picked up a smooth stone. He skipped it once, then twice. The stone jumped across the water. Jenna counted the skips and cheered. They both laughed like children. Josh felt free and strong, he thought. Humans find joy even after hardship. Walking home, Josh's smile faded as he remembered his trip home at sunset. He felt a quiet ache. Jenna noticed and slipped her hand into his. She said, "We have time." But Josh knew the clock was moving. He decided to be honest. He stopped on the path and faced her. "I must leave tonight," he said softly. Eyes grew wide and her voice trembled. They sat on a low wall and watched the sky turn pink. Josh held Jenna's hand and said, "Distance is hard, but we can beat it." He opened his notebook and wrote a list. Video calls, letters, visits, shared goals. Jenna looked at the list. She placed a hand over his and said, "We will do this." Josh felt hope fill him. He wrote human spirit at the top of the page. Later at the small train station, Josh hugged Jenna tight. He smelled her hair and felt steady courage. Jenna pressed a folded note into his hand. He opened it and saw a drawing of the oak tree, where they met with two stick figures under it. Under the drawing were the words, "Always together." Josh smiled through tears and tucked the note into his pocket. The train arrived with a soft whistle. Josh lifted his bag and stepped aboard. He turned to wave at Jenna, who stood strong on the platform. The train moved slowly at first, then faster. Josh watched Jenna shrink in the distance, but never disappear. whispered. I will see you soon. And the words rode the wind back to her. As night fell, Josh lay in his berth and looked at the drawing in his pocket by the dim lamp. He thought of Jenna's smile, their garden work, and the river. He wrote in his notebook, "Hope guides us home." He closed his eyes and felt a quiet joy. He knew that no matter how far apart they were, human will and hope would bring them together again. Josh woke in his own bed and felt the quiet of his room. The sunlight filtered through the curtains. He reached for his notebook on the bedside table. He read the drawing Jenna gave him, 2 stick figures under an oak tree. He smiled, but the ache in his chest was still there. He missed Jenna more than ever now that he was home. He dressed and walked to his window. He saw the street where he grew up. The houses were the same. The old oak tree down the block still stood tall. Josh remembered how he and Jenna used to race their bikes past it. He felt both comfort and sadness. He wanted to share this moment with Jenna, but she was far away. Josh opened his laptop and stared at the blank screen. He had tried texting and calling, but the distance felt bigger each day. He didn't know how to feel close when they were so far apart. He closed his eyes and thought of human strength. He remembered how he kept going on his journey. He could find a new way. He opened a video editing program. He had learned the basics on the train ride home. He decided to make a shared video. He would stitch together clips of his town and Jenna's town. He would record short messages from friends and neighbors. He believed this would bring their worlds closer. Josh spent the morning filming. He shot the oak tree by his home, the empty bike rack, and the quiet sidewalk. He asked his neighbor Ms. Garcia to say a few words to Jenna. She smiled into the camera and said, "Hi, Jenna. We miss you here." Josh felt hope rise in his chest. He collected small clips from people who remembered Jenna's laughter. After lunch, Josh called a friend who knew Jenna from school. His friend agreed to film the oak tree in Jenna's town and record a short greeting. He sent Josh the clip by email. Josh downloaded it and added it to his video. He also recorded himself speaking softly. "Jenna, every tree, every street here reminds me of you. I hope this helps you feel closer." As afternoon light faded, Josh arranged the clips in order. First the oak tree at home, then friends speaking, then Jenna's tree, then his own message. He added simple text, "Distance cannot break our bond." He played the video back and felt tears in his eyes. The images and the voices felt like a bridge between their worlds. Josh exported the video and uploaded it to a private link. He wrote a message to Jenna. "I made this for you. I hope it brings our homes together." He pressed send and leaned back in his chair. He waited, feeling nervous and hopeful. He told himself that human hope never gives up. That evening, Josh walked to the oak tree near his house. He carried his phone and a small speaker. He set the speaker on a low branch and pressed play on the video. The soft song he chose began to play. He felt the video light up the tree bark. He watched the images dance on leaves and branches. He imagined Jenna watching the same video under her tree. He left the speaker with a note tied around its branch. "Play me here whenever you miss home. I am here too." Well, then he walked home, under the stars. The night air felt cool, but his heart felt warm. He believed Jenna would find it in her morning walk. The next day, Josh checked his email. He saw a reply from Jenna. "I saw the video under our tree. I smiled so wide I cried. I felt like you were here with me." Josh's chest swelled with pride and joy. He typed back, "I will play it under my tree at the same time today. Let us watch together in our hearts." Later that afternoon, Josh walked to his oak tree and pressed play again. At the same moment, he knew Jenna would press play too. He closed his eyes and imagined her smile. He felt the bond between them grow stronger. He whispered, "Humans never give up on the ones they love." That night, Josh added a new note in his notebook. "Always find new ways." He wrote under it, "Hope is our power." He closed the book and went to sleep with a calm heart. He knew that even when they were apart, their human spirit and hope would keep them close. Josh woke before sunrise and sat at his desk. He opened his notebook and saw the words he wrote days ago, "Hope is our power." He smiled and closed the book. Today was the day he would take the next step to stay close to Jenna, even though she lived far away now. He believed in human spirit, and he knew that distance could not weaken true friendship. He dressed and walked to the local post office. Inside, he found a row of postcards. He chose one with a bright picture of the oak tree near his home. On the back, he wrote a simple message. Dear Jenna, every day under this tree makes me think. Of you, I carry our memories in my heart. Let us keep sharing moments, no matter the miles. He signed it with a small drawing of 2 stick figures under branches. He dropped the postcard in the box. Next, Josh walked to the small music shop in town. He had saved some money from the cafe job. He picked out a blank USB drive. The clerk wrapped it in paper and Josh carried it carefully home. Once there, he plugged it into his computer and opened a folder he made just for Jenna. He added the shared video he created under the oak tree. Then he added new songs they both loved. Soft tunes, hopeful melodies. He wrote a short text file. Let's listen together on the first full moon of each month. He ejected the drive and placed it in an envelope with the postcard. That afternoon, Josh delivered a package to the courier. He felt a light thrill as he handed it over. Now, Jenna would have a gift from him. As he walked back, he thought of her opening it, pictured her surprise, and maybe a laugh when she saw the stick figure drawing. Later that evening, Josh sat by his window and opened his laptop. He had set up a shared playlist online. He added 2 new songs he discovered that day. He titled the playlist Oak Tree Echoes. Then he messaged Jenna, check our playlist tonight at 8 p.m. I'll add another song you will like. He hit send and closed the computer. He felt steady hope in his chest, like a soft flame that would not go out. At 8, Josh took his phone to the oak tree near his house, carried a portable speaker. He pressed play on the playlist. Gentle music floated through the branches. He closed his eyes and remembered Jenna's face. He knew she would listen. At the same time, under her oak tree, he whispered, "We are together in heart." He let the music guide him back to memories of laughter and shared silence. After the song ended, Josh recorded a short voice message on his phone. He said, Jenna, this tree feels alive with our music tonight. Thank you for sharing this moment with me. He sent the message through their chat. Then he sat quietly, listening to night sounds, crickets, wind in the leaves, distant cars. He felt connected across the miles. The next morning, Josh found a reply. Jenna wrote, I felt the music under my tree too. It was like you were here.
Thank you for bringing
our memories alive. Josh's chest swelled with joy. Typed back, I have another idea. Let's send each other a seed from our gardens. We'll plant them at the same time and think of each other as they grow. Jenna's reply came quickly. Yes, humans grow hope from tiny seeds. Josh laughed softly. Josh spent the day preparing his packet. He went to the garden where he and Jenna had planted long ago. He dug carefully around a strong young sapling. He chose a few acorns and small seeds. He cleaned them gently and placed them in a small cloth. Bog, he tied a note. Plant these with me on the full moon. He added the USB drive and the postcard. Then he mailed the package. Over the next weeks, Josh worked at the cafe and saved money for another trip. He also kept sending small messages. A photo of his cat napping by the window, a poem he wrote about friendship, a link to a funny video he found online. Each message was a thread that wove their lives together, even when they were apart. Josh believed humans have the power to build bridges, even across stars. When the full moon arrived, Josh walked to the oak tree one more time. He held the seeds and the phone. At the same moment, Jenna planted hers under her oak tree. They called each other on a video chat. Jenna's face glowed in the moonlight. Josh felt tears of happiness in his eyes. They poured soil over the seeds. Together, each on a different continent. Then they laughed as they cracked jokes about who would grow the tallest sapling first. After the call ended, Josh stayed under the tree and stared at the sky. He felt a gentle breeze and looked up at the bright moon. He whispered, Humans never stop hoping. He believed that these seeds would grow strong, just like their friendship. Each day he would water the seedlings and remember Jenna. Months passed. The acorns began to sprout into small green shoots. Josh took photos and sent them to Jenna. In return, she sent pictures of her own sapling pushing through the earth. Their hope grew alongside the plants. Josh felt proud of their human spirit and their creative ways to stay connected. One spring morning, Josh received a surprise message from Jenna. "I have a holiday break in 2 weeks. Can I visit?" Josh's heart leaped. He typed back, "Yes. I will pick you up at the station and show you every favorite place." He shut his computer and danced around the room. Hope had become reality. When Jenna arrived, they met under the oak tree, each with a small bucket of fresh soil. They laughed and hugged, their journey complete for now. They planted their young trees side by side. Josh looked at the small leaves reaching for the sun. He felt human pride and hope shining in his heart. He knew that no matter the distance, they would always find new ways to stay together. Human spirit had carried them through, and it would carry them forward too.